All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, depending upon where you are. This is your boy, Sam Oram, with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. I'm so excited today to just share a few things with you, share some things with the audience around the world. And my special guest, I'm telling you, he's going to blow you away. This is a guy that I've looked forward to interviewing. He comes very, very highly recommended from people around the world. And I'm just excited for all of our podcast listeners to get a chance to hear from him. Let me tell you a little bit about his resume. Now, I could go on and on all day about it, but let me just share with you a couple of things. First of all, he has a heart of gold. He is a philanthropist. He is doing some incredible things around the world. As a matter of fact, he is a CEO. He has helped other business owners to create and advance their businesses and their organizations. He is what you call an influencer, and you know what that means. That means he is changing lives of individuals around the world. He is a LinkedIn strategist. He has created and developed a system of helping individuals to market their business through LinkedIn. And check this out, everybody. He is actually an international TV host and public speaker. So he has done some incredible things. I'm so very impressed about him and what he's done. As a matter of fact, he's originally from Barcelona, but he has lived in 8 different countries around the world. He speaks multiple languages. I'm still trying to master one language, and this guy actually speaks 5 different languages. So I'm so excited about that. He has actually helped over 1,500 CEOs in 33 different countries to improve their businesses and their lives. So I know you don't want me to go on and on. You want to hear from this guy, but I am so honored to have as my guest today on the Deep Dive Podcast, my very good friend, a guy I'm excited to hear about, none other than Mr. Angel Ribo. Angel, how you doing, my man?
Wow, thank you. I'm really well, and after everything that you said about me, so thank you. I really appreciate it. The honor is really mine, and obviously, thank you very much. To everybody who's listening to us today.
Yeah, we're so excited. I know you have so many things that you've done over the years, and so many things that we want to be able to share with the audience. First of all, before I get into details, what was it like growing up in Spain? Did you actually grow up in Spain, or you just were born there?
No, I did. Yeah. So I would say, I was born, I was born near Barcelona and eventually ended up in Barcelona studying my degrees. But, both of my master's degrees I did there. And then, I continued like my working experience started there. And in the 90s, I moved to the UK. But yeah, growing up in Spain, basically, I was born still during the dictatorship. We had a dictator in Spain that died in 1975.
Really?
I was born before that. Yeah. So let's say that, it was good because, kids would play in the streets and, everything was very healthy relationships, and we would have a lot of fun. And,
right.
So we would all get along well. And, I was born inside a Catholic family. So we would go to church over the weekends, and we would actually have a youth mass on Saturdays, and we would typically sing and play instruments. My sister would play guitar there.
Right.
So, excuse me. So it was a very nice, easy, childhood. My father was working first for a bank in Spain. Then after a few years, he changed, and he was actually the CEO for a group of food industry companies. So yeah, it was good. I was spending a lot of time with my father all the time. I would like to go with him where he was working. So I was learning lots of things from him. He was an entrepreneur, and maybe the most important thing that then it was really important for my future was that in school, we were learning French since very early on. I think it was already fourth grade, we started to learn French.
Okay.
So, when I left the same school, I went to the same school from first grade up until, or pre-K up until 12th grade. And also then outside the school, I think it was the 5th grade, I started to learn English. So actually I started to learn French first and English.
Okay.
But for some reason, I always liked foreign languages. So I always like, getting myself to know people that spoke other languages. And I remember going one summer, I spent 1 month in the UK when I was still in school, in high school. It was the last year in middle school. So I would say a pretty happy, childhood, going to the beach on during the summer. We would have a house on the beach. So very, very nice, very good memories from my childhood in Spain. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. When did you actually transition? I know you're in Texas now, but when did you actually transition, from Barcelona to, what was it, the US or Europe, or when did you make that transition?
Yeah. So I moved from Europe to the Americas. It was actually Mexico City in the early 2000s. So it was the year 2001. And I stayed there until 2010. And in 2010, I moved from Mexico. I was living there in Puerto Vallarta for 4 years between 2006 2010. And then we moved to Dallas, or to north of Dallas, Plano, Texas, exactly, to be exact, in 2010. So we've been here for 10 years. And it's always been because, all my changes have been because I really wanted to learn something more. I wanted to learn something new.
Right.
The countries I lived before, during college, actually, I lived in several countries because every single summer, I would literally take from 2 to 6 months every summer. Even if that would affect the framework of my studies, I would still take those internships and scholarships abroad, because I really consider that those were part of my life. It was normal to me to spend long periods of time abroad, just to learn languages and learn the culture and learn how things would work there. So I think that really was important for me for the future that was waiting for me, Sam.
Yeah, I think that's why you have been so successful, in terms of being able to empower so many people and help so many people. It is because of the diversity of culture, of the diversity of, languages, and just being able to relate to so many people. And that's one of the things that it excites me so much about you. And I know our audience are going to, receive so much information from you, simply because you have that knowledge, that diversity, that, multiplicity of languages and cultures and things of that nature. And one of the things that's really exciting to me is the fact that you've been able to help over 1,500 CEOs in 33 different countries. Man, that is incredible. I have to hear, just how did you actually, empower 1,500 different CEOs? And we're not talking about just anybody. We're talking about people who are influencers themselves, people who run companies. How did you get involved in that, especially in so many countries?
Exactly. So actually, I started to do that in Europe because it's funny how you never know what your life is going to give you, right? So
that's right.
I remember when I moved to the UK and I started making phone calls, and cold calling. I was actually hired by an American high-tech company in the UK to make a lot of phone calls. So I would literally make up to 140 calls a day.
Wow.
Cold calling prospects.
Right.
Okay. So the company I was working with, they always were asking me, hey, the reason why we're making phone calls, I was part of their inside sales team, is that you need to identify business opportunities, and you need to set up appointments for the field sales representatives. Okay. So I would make my bonuses out of the number of appointments I would make for my field sales reps. And my field sales reps were in different countries in Europe, although I was based in the UK, right? So picture this. So the company I was working with, they wanted me to talk to CEOs and C-levels all the time, because we were doing something which is called, in the sales arena, it's called like consultative selling, which means we would only close deals and talk about those deals with the top level, leadership teams in those companies. Okay. And that was my starting point. So guess what? Even if you are not really good at something, but you do it so much, so often, excuse me, when you do something so often, continuously, eventually, want it or not, like it or not, you eventually become, you like it. You learn something. That's right. You learn how to go through gatekeepers. You learn how to position yourself. You know how to position the value proposition of your company, the products and services that your company is selling, right? So you get to understand this better just because you do it over and over and over again. If you only do 10 to 20 calls a day, this fear of, confronting someone that you've never talked to, and maybe they're going to be hanging up on you, but when you do it like literally thousands of times over,
Right.
I mean, over a month would be probably 2,000-3,000 calls a month. Imagine that. And we would do call blitzes. Now I just remembered. We would do call blitzes on Fridays and have pizza in, so we didn't have to go to have lunch outside.
Now, what's
And
the
I
call
remember
blitzes? The call blitzes.
call blitzes was like basically our manager would say, so every Friday we would come back, we would come to the office at 7 a.m. instead of 9,
Okay.
7 a.m. and we would make as many phone calls as possible until nobody answers the phone. So we start at 7 and we make phone calls to all these prospects, right? We had a list of prospects of this company. So we would have a list of 200, 300 companies to call to, and we would start making phone calls non-stop with, with the headphones and everything, non-stop. And then when it was like 6 p.m., we were in the UK, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. And we would realize that nobody was answering because everybody was already gone for the weekend.
Right.
We would stop the call blitz and then we would count. We would count the number of calls. And the guy that would make the largest amount of calls and the most successful appointments already set would win the call blitz. That would be a call blitz. And we would do that. I think it was one Friday a month.
Wow, really?
So that was crazy. So when you do that, it's amazing how you learn to do stuff and how you learn to really deal with a long list of prospects. Even if you're not the best manager, I have to say I'm not the best organizer in the world. Okay. I wouldn't be a good operations guy. That's not me. I am a good salesperson. I'm a people person,
Right.
So that was the beginning, literally. So my field sales reps would start loving me. Angel, oh my God, I do want more leads like that. I do want more appointments with CEOs like those that you got for me last week.
Okay.
And that started to build up. And then eventually I requested myself, I wanted to go and work in Latin America. And they said, you're crazy. Why would you go from the UK? You're making so much money. You would go to a third world country. I said, why not? I want to learn a new culture. I want to learn new things.
That's right.
And guess what? I started to work not only with, strategic accounts in Mexico. As you know, there's a lot of, large manufacturing companies, subsidiaries of large American companies there. And obviously there's large automotive plants and all these kind of companies. Also, I was working with several resellers. So we have resellers, small business owners that I would personally train from zero how to become good, business people. So they would really become, profitable selling our products and services.
Right.
And so then my outreach immediately increased. So I was not only selling to specific named accounts, I was also selling to a lot of many other different accounts that my resellers would ask me to help them sell to. Right. That's why I was able to actually work with so many companies and so many CEOs, because I had this network of resellers. I was working with them. So I would always go there to close those businesses, those deals with them. Wow. So that's the story. That's the story behind those 1,500 CEOs.
Now, that's incredible, Angel. I mean, one of the takeaways I get from that story is the fact that the work ethic is incredible. When you're talking about just a blitz and just calling and just being relentless. I know one of the things that we do with my company, we have something called a power hour, which is very similar. We would get on the phone and make calls for about an hour and but not to the degree that you.
Try. I dare you, Sam. Try this once. When you try once, I tell you, you guys are gonna love it.
Oh wow! Okay.
No, I tell you, you are gonna love it. Don't do a power day instead of a power hour. And you guys are gonna love it. Really.
I tell you what, we're going to try it. We're going to try it.
I dare you. Okay. Pinky promise. Pinky promise.
Pinky promise. There you go. Pinky promise. Because you know what? You have had so much success. I mean, why wouldn't we? It worked for you. So if it worked for you, it should work for us, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So pinky promise, we definitely gonna try.
Okay, tell me how it went, please.
I sure will, Angel. I sure will. And you know what? The other thing that's so interesting about you, not just the fact that you're so entrepreneurial minded and you help so many entrepreneurs, but then you're also a philanthropist. You also have a heart of gold. I mean, even the foundation. I wanted you to share a little bit with us about the foundation, your foundation, Wisdom for Kids, because I understand that you have a passion for for kids. You have a passion for underprivileged communities, and this foundation is incredible. And I just wanted to share, with the audience what Wisdom for Kids is about and how all of that came about.
Absolutely. So basically, when I moved from Europe to Latin America in 2001, I immediately started to see something that in Europe is more difficult to see, which is poverty.
Okay.
I mean, I was living in Mexico City, and even though I was working and living in one of the most wealthy areas in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. If you went downtown, you would immediately see kids in the traffic lights selling you, anything from candies, chewing gums, bottles of water. Oh, they would say, "Hey, can we clean the windshield of your car? Can we do this? Can we do that?" So immediately you start seeing poverty, right? And most of them were kids. The people offering you services in the traffic lights, right?
Okay.
When I started to visit plants, like manufacturing plants of those companies I mentioned before, most of those plants are in the outskirts of the cities. And guess what? Those places are exactly the places where there's more poverty. So I became acquainted, and to be very honest, I became really unsensitive to this poverty I was seeing all the time. Right. So it was like continuously saying this, and even when I moved to the US, I kept on going to Latin America to do business. So I remember that in 2015, one day I woke up and it was so heavy. Like, when like all the pieces of the puzzle come together, like different things that you've done in your life, eventually they make sense. So I realized that I had seen so many poor kids, so many underprivileged kids, and at the same time I have dealt with so many powerful people, the CEOs and C-level executives of those companies, that I said to myself, I literally had an epiphany. I had this spiritual experience in which I saw very clearly that all those kids in need, they needed help. They needed someone to connect. They needed someone to connect the most powerful people with the most underprivileged people. We needed to do that, right?
That's right.
And I said, if not me, who's going to do it?
Right.
Literally. So, and it was a very special moment because actually I was literally crying for almost the entire day, and I was extremely sensitive. I was in Mexico when this happened. It happened to me the 21st of March in 2015, to be exact. Okay. And that day I flew back to Dallas and I said, I have to do something. If it's not me, who's going to do it? If it's not me, who's going to do it? That's so right. I came back, I talked to a friend of mine back in Mexico, and I said, hey, I just had that experience and I would like to do something for the kids in need. And he said, let's do it together.
Okay.
and then he introduced me to his dad, who happened to be a professor in a university, in a college in Mexico City. And the rest is history. We started to work on the workshop. What are we going to do with the kids? How can we make a dramatic, meaningful contribution to their lives? How can we start this? So we started Wisdom for Kids. We were almost for a couple of years just proof testing. And we had 2 PhD students working on the workshop that we delivered to the kids when we go to Latin America to make sure it was the most impactful, workshop we could do.
Right.
And we started doing it, and it was really a way to give back. And it's amazing. I was traveling all over the place in Latin America, but I would never have thought that there were 81 million kids living in poverty in Latin America alone. 81. Really? And this is data from UNICEF in 2012. Okay. It's now April 2021. Can you imagine how many kids in need are now? Right. More than 81 million kids. I wouldn't be surprised if we are well over 90 plus million. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Absolutely.
So, and it's almost half of the entire children population in the continent. How many US states do we have to put together to come up with with 90 million?
90 million, that's true.
It's crazy numbers, it's crazy numbers, but everything starts with the first step, and then you put the other foot right in front, and the other foot in front, and the other foot in front, and you keep going. Yeah. And make and learning and trying to do a better job next time. So that's how Wisdom for Kids started, Sam.
Yeah, that's truly a blessing. I tell you, Angel. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's why you have that name, Angel.
No, thank you. Thank you.
It
It's
was
very kind of
prophetic,
you.
right?
Thank you. Thank you. But
Well, you know what?
it brings a lot of responsibility also.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's a lot of responsibility. Remind me of a time I actually went to Africa, and there was a very similar situation there.
You see?
Kids were so excited just to get
Absolutely.
a peppermint or a
Oh
pencil,
my
or
God. Oh yeah.
just something so simple. And they played in a little creek in the neighborhoods, and they were just so happy. There's no electricity. There's no video games, none of the luxuries that we have here in the West, but they were so happy. They were extremely happy. But for you to be able to bless so many people and empower so many people, that is incredible. So your foundation, you ought to be applauded. I'm
Oh,
excited
thank
to
you. Thank you.
see what you're doing, and that's absolutely incredible. One other thing that I wanted to really kind of hone in on a little bit. I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are actually tuned in to this particular
Absolutely.
podcast. What is it that you can give us in terms of advice, or continuing
Thank
to
you.
expand our companies or our entrepreneurial spirit? What advice can you give us? I know you've talked about the blitz, and we're definitely going to do that because we pinky promised. But what other
Exactly.
advice can you share with the audience?
Yeah. So I will probably suggest maybe something which is my business mantra. Okay. And it's
Okay.
something that I actually, no matter who I talk to, I always give them the same piece of advice, which is take imperfect action now. Take imperfect action now. That's my business mantra. Okay.
Okay.
So, and that's probably why I have done so many things in my life. It's because I always like to proof test things. I don't care if they're imperfect. I don't care about the reaction of the people if I make a mistake. And, I don't care if I do a design which is wrong, if I use the wrong words. I'm a human being. I can make mistakes. But guess what? The most important thing every single time that we're trying, you said it very well. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. There's a lot of business owners.
That's right.
The most important thing, regardless of what we are offering in terms of product or service, the most important thing is proof testing. It's the most important thing.
Okay.
It's go to the market and see what the market says about it.
Okay.
Going out there and position it and deliver it and give it and sell it, offer it, and see what happens. That's the most important thing. Okay. Right. I mean, so that means that if you have a new idea, or you have a new product that you would like to launch and you don't know how to do it, the first thing you have to do, I would advise you to do, is take imperfect action now, meaning start going to your friends, to your relatives, to potential clients, to prospects, to neighbors, to your community, and ask them, if I were to launch this specific product or service, would you buy? Would it be of benefit to you? If not, why not? If yes, how? How could we make it more valuable to you?
Okay.
This is the most important thing. And we tell all the time, it's like, I've learned so much. Like, we are so hard on ourselves, Sam. We are so hard on ourselves that it's like launching a product or a service is like a gala, literally. It's like you have to go to the hairstylist, you have to go to your skincare expert, you have to have your new suit on, you have to have the mustache, your beard, everything has to be perfect before you launch it. You know what? This is the wrong answer.
Okay.
This is the wrong answer. No, literally. The only thing you need is to start talking to people that might potentially be your clients. And that can be really, honestly, anybody.
Right.
Last year, as you can imagine, it's April 2021 now. So what happened 12, 13, 14 months ago? Everybody knows. Everybody knows right now what's the current state of affairs, right? I don't have to remind anybody.
Right.
So last year, I'm very active here in the Dallas area in the business community. And very often I'm involved with, startup weeks and startup weekends and with the startups here and with business accelerators. Last year, I gave a couple of webinars to the local entrepreneurial and startup community here. Okay. And the title of the webinars were Pivoting in Times of Crisis. Pivoting in Times of Crisis.
Okay.
And who last year wasn't hit one way or another by what happened, right, in the world?
That's right. Yeah.
Mostly everybody, one way or another.
Yeah.
So your ability to go back to your revenue levels, profitability levels, cash flow levels as before is correlated directly with your ability to go back and satisfy the market needs.
I see.
Did the market needs change? That's my
Right.
question to you guys out there.
Right.
Did the market needs change? In some cases, yes, they did, and a lot, and in some others, maybe didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you saw some change in the consumer habits, it means that it would be wise for you to change and to adapt to those habits, right? Or maybe even if you saw that the market changed, why don't you change your products and services?
That makes sense.
Exactly. It makes sense, right? But when you are in the middle of, you're being bombarded with so many political messages,
Mm-hmm.
so many media messages, so
Right.
many, you name it. I'm very bad in politics. Okay, so I'm not the right guy to talk about this.
Right.
And I've never been affiliated with anybody. But the reality is that, we're still, most of us, getting out of fear, anxiety, uncertainty. That's where we were. That's
Mm-hmm.
where we were last year, like it or not. That's where we were last year.
Right.
Because
That's
we are
true.
we are human beings. We are human beings, and we were afraid of this or afraid of that. We're afraid of that, the uncertainty, the money, I guess, as I said before, profitability, cash flow, revenue, blah, 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 all those things. Okay, so why don't we assess what's going on in the market and try maybe to offer additional services or additional products? That's why taking an imperfect action is the best, is the best mindset in order to pivot, in order to reinvent yourself.
Right.
That's why I consistently suggest entrepreneurs and business owners to do this all the time. Take imperfect action now, regardless of the consequences, and then keep on course correcting. Really, it's that simple. Right. And that complicated, right? Because we have an inertia, right?
Right.
We have an inertia.
Right.
We have to keep on going. We have to keep on doing the same wrong thing more efficiently.
That's right. Yeah.
We are so good as human beings. We are so good in doing the worst, the bad thing. Keep on doing the worst thing more efficiently. We're so good in doing the bad thing. The wrong thing, more efficiently. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why not thinking in terms of effectively, instead of doing the wrong thing more efficiently all the time?
Yeah, no, that's real good. I like that. Take imperfect action now. So yeah, that's real good. I'm going to utilize again this to myself. We talk to people a lot of times about just going out and taking action. Everything is not going to be perfect, as you said, as you stated. It'll never be perfect. So just go out and do it. Put some action behind that thought. Put some action behind your plan. It's trial and error. If it doesn't work, just keep adjusting. I tell this story all the time, but if when an airplane is taking off from one city to the next city, 70% of the time that it's in the air, it's off course and it's continuously adjusting. And our plan, our business plan, our life plan is very similar. We may write some things down or we may have some goals, but at the end of the day, it's going to take some adjustments and it's always going to be moving and adjusting. But the key is what you said, just take some action right now. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Let's go and get it. So I'm excited about that. And I appreciate that wisdom from you, Angel.
Oh, absolutely. And, there's never going to be a perfect scenario to launch. Mm-hmm. Never. It's like, it's like just the picture for the people who are actually watching the video. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but when you go to the Deep Dive podcast and you see this wonderful picture of Sam against the handrail, of this staircase, I don't know how long it took to him to be on this very nice posture with this beautiful, sports jacket.
Longer than it should have.
With his watch, exactly. It took longer, but at some point you said, come on. Yeah, this is it. It's like this is it.
That's
and
it.
You look very natural, right? You look very natural. And and if instead of having one photographer, you would have had 2 photographers or 3 photographers, guess what? The complexity of the footage, right? Would have been even worse because everybody has their own perception and their own frame of reference and everything. At the end of the day, it came out great, right? And it's just a great example. It's like, it's like your or the thumbnail or the poster you have behind you. It's just a matter of you want to communicate a certain message, and then until you become comfortable with that message, with that design, with everything, the message you want to convey, boom, you launch it. And at the end of the day, I will never forget your background because it's pretty unique, right? And it's yourself, very friendly, very classy, very trendy, and at the same time, there's a background that doesn't leave you like it has emotion, because there's, there's red and there's orange, and it's close to your heart. It gives you, it has feelings. It's an emotional background that you have. I'm just talking about an example because, and you guys, if you're listening to this, just go to the Deep Dive podcast page and you will see what I'm talking about. Again, it's all a matter of, just going to the market with it and see what happens. And eventually you become comfortable. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, maybe you should change it slightly, but maybe not,
Right. Yeah, you're so right about that, Angel. As a matter of fact, that's how I actually started podcasting. It was just kind of there. It fit in so perfectly with what I was doing. And, I'm like, you know what, let me just take that deep dive, if you will. Let me just go for it. Let me just figure it out as I go. There's so many articles and this, that, and thus that talks about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And I just kind of did what you said. I just started. And now it's grown. It's, getting better. We have people like yourself from, all over the world.
No, thank you.
So that advice is some good advice. So I'm excited to implement that. But let me ask you, as we start to close out, one of the things that, you've done so many things, incredible things in your life, from empowering CEOs to, your foundation with the kids. But what does the future hold for Angel? I'm so excited to hear about this future.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I think that, very honestly, last year, as anyone else, I was thinking of myself, what's going to happen in the future, right?
Right.
What is going to be my role in the future? As a public figure, I was really focusing on, number one, making sure I understood everything and I was helping as many people as possible last year in 2020. And second, number two is really thinking deep about what's going to be my role moving forward in the world.
Okay.
And so I was asking myself the same question that you just asked me. And one of the things I posted the most about, and I was talking the most about, was about building bridges. Okay. I think that last year, there were so many people that we unfortunately disconnected from one another.
Right.
And I consider myself that my role really in this world is to connect the unconnected. Connect the unconnected, the unconnected. So that's what I think is my role. I think that my role is being the conduit of everybody else's greatness. My goal is to making sure that I connect all these people that unconnected last year, and to bring this connection back to the world. I think that I have to be this person that has the knowledge and the experience and maybe the empathy and the humility and the gratitude and the acceptance to build those bridges that were burned in the last 14 months and create a new future. So my future plans are really to increase my influence, to increase my impact, to increase my outreach in those areas that we discussed today, making sure that we are building a place and we are creating a world which is good for everybody, regardless of anything else. I don't believe that we have to create separation. I'm going to repeat this.
I agree.
I'm going to repeat this. And people ask me very often, where do you find your answers? My answers, I find them inside myself.
Wow. Okay.
I find them inside myself. I don't go out there and then I listen to everybody and then I said, this is the answer. No, I really go inside myself, because there's no other place better, more genuine, more authentic than myself. Right. And I say to myself, is this really resonating with my heart? Yes or no? And that's what I want to do. I want to keep on creating a world in which we unite. Really, we are united, genuinely. Because there's people, we want everybody to be united, but at the same time, they try to separate us. Oh, come on. Just as you can easily understand, I've been in 33 countries conducting business. Do you think that I ever had a crisis or a conflict with someone because of their skin, their religions, their beliefs, their religions, principles? Of course not.
Right.
When someone goes to a new country to get to know that country, to get to know their business people, etc., you go there with a whole bunch, with a big, massive backpack full of humility, Sam. That's what you do, because you are there to learn.
That's right.
You are there to learn. You are there to learn. You want to help them, right? You want to make your sale, maybe, but the most important thing is you want to understand them. How can you possibly do business somewhere if you don't understand them first?
Understand them. That's right.
So how can I possibly, after that experience, be now seeing the world here locally or the US like in 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 different like groups of people. No, I think that I'm really part of everybody, and bringing the world together, bringing everybody that has lost that connection is really my battlefield right now. And I say it very peacefully. Okay, I use battlefield because I like to use my passion. I'm a pretty upbeat guy, and I think that we have to use our energy, our passion to build this new world. And that's the starting point for me, Sam.
Oh man, that is so incredible, Angel. I tell you, you have a heart of gold, and you truly personify your name. And I'm not just saying that. I really appreciate everything that you're doing for people around the world, the kids in Latin America, and how you're empowering people. You give of yourself, just so selflessly. You're putting other people in front of your own interests. So that is incredible. I'm so excited. We want to continue to connect with you and your audience, your television show, your social media platforms. How can we continue to engage in you and also be a benefit to what you're doing?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, number one, it's easy to reach out to me because I am online all the time. Okay. So it's impossible to be online and not see me every single day. Okay. I'm there every single day. Okay. So I'm very, very active. I'm very active. The number one place where I am, but I'm everywhere. Okay. So I'm in Twitter, I'm in Facebook, I'm in Instagram, but the most important outlet for me is LinkedIn. Because I use LinkedIn extensively, both for myself and for my clients. Okay, that's number one. So if you want to send me an email, it's very easy. Actually, either my team or myself are going to answer your emails. My email address is very simple. It's like my name, angel@angelribo.com. Angel@angelribo.com. Ribo is spelled like R-I-B as in boy, O. And if you want to know more about Wisdom for Kids, it's very easy. You go to wisdomforkids.today, wisdomforkids.today. And if you go there, you will see that how easy it is to get involved with Wisdom for Kids and what we do, and help us, help more underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. So I have to say, Sam, thank you very much for allowing me to be here today. It's been really a pleasure, a blessing. It's been like really like a fireplace conversation.
That's right.
pretty heated and pretty passionate, because I think we both bring a lot of energy to the table. And that can only be good, and really to appreciate everybody who's been listening to our conversation today.
Well, I thank you so much, Angel. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. You are a superstar. We are truly blessed to have had you on the Deep Dive podcast. We will continue to follow you primarily through LinkedIn, and we certainly want to make sure that we continue to support and follow your foundation as you continue to empower people around the world. So we were excited to have you. It was absolutely a blast, Angel. I'm looking forward to at some point having you again in the future to continue this dialogue and to let you know how our blitz went. So we gave a pinky swear, so we're going to make sure we let you know how that went. All right. So thank you so much again, Angel.
You bet.
Continue to do great things around the world.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best. God bless you. All of our podcast listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Deep Dive podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and download. We thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you, and have an incredible day. Yeah.